Hello there and welcome to another video from Change Tips and Tools. And today we're going to look at how to build a Speedo in Excel. So here we've got a Speedo graphic here, and if I change this value, you'll notice that the Speedo changes dynamically, like so. If you want to know how to build this, keep watching. Let's do this. So here we have our blank Speedo page here, where we've got the value, where we put our value in here. And we have this tab here called Speedo Support Sheet. And this is where all the magic happens. The first thing is we need some data elements for our Doughnut chart, which will form the dial. And we need then the data elements for our pie chart, which will form the pointer of our Speedo dial. So firstly, the Speedo labels, these are the values that will appear, the labels on our Speedo, as you can see on screen here. And the Speedo segments, those are the values that cause our Doughnut chart to create the even segments of our Speedo dial. Now these all add up to 100%, and then I've put 100% at the bottom, so I need to make sure to get that sort of semicircle shape. I need to only have the first 100% visible, then the bottom 100% is going to be invisible of our Doughnut chart, which is going to be that 100%. Then here on the pie chart, we need to create our pointer position based on this. So our pointer position is going to be our value, so that's going to equal our input value here. I'm going to hit return. So when I go to that now and put, say for example 10%, that will say 10%. As far as our thickness of our pointer is concerned, I'm going to make that 1.5% as far as our thickness is concerned. And let's just make sure here we can see, there we go. So move the decimal place so we can see it on the formatting. Then as far as the rest is concerned, this is a calculation. So we need to, as far as our pie chart, it needs to be equals our total value here, either 200%, minus these two values added together. So I'm going to do an open bracket, take the pointer position, plus the thickness of the pointer, and then close that bracket, will then give us the rest of the pie chart, which is important. Now on our pointer, to get this floating label, I need to add some labels in here. So this is what's going to be visible, the thickness of the pointer. So this is going to be the position of the pointer. So I'm going to do 0% there on the pointer position. This value is going to be the same as the pointer position, either value. And then this will be also 0%. So I've set all these formats here to be a percentage, like so. So now we have all our data, is we can now build our Speedo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all these up to the 100%. I'm going to do insert ribbon. I'm going to insert a donut. Yeah, let's make this a little bit bigger, like so. Don't need the title, so I'm going to delete that, and I don't need the legend. I'm going to delete that. I'm then going to select the data series here, and I'm going to do Control-1. And what I'm going to do is on our data series, I'm going to rotate the first slice to 270 degrees, like so. So that then puts the first set of values 100% on the top, and then the 100% here down the bottom here, which is not going to be visible when we're finished. So again, with this all selected, now I'm then going to go to the fill, and on the fill, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose something else on there, but more importantly, what I want to make sure of is on the colors here is I'm just going to do this gradient fill here. And you can choose any of these. I'm going to choose this one. I'm then going to go to the border and I'm going to do no line, like so. And then with the bottom one selected, I'm just going to select this bottom one here. So now you can see I'm selecting each individual data point here. So I'm going to select the bottom one and do no fill. So that's now gone. Right. Now just click off it and then click that data series. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the data labels here. So I'm just going to do add data labels. I'm then going to hit the plus sign to shrink it. And I'm going to select the data labels, and then over here on the label options here, I'm going to choose a value from cells. Hit the up arrow, and I'm going to choose these values here, all the way down to 100%. Hit return and click OK. And then I'm going to untick the value, and I'm going to untick show leader lines like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these labels maybe a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go home, I'm going to make them bold, and let's make them 11 like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select each label one at a time, and I'm just going to, and let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab it, individual label, I'm just going to move it, and I'm going to align it over here. I'm just going to grab it, just going to put the corner to the edge of the segment there. So let me just do this for the rest of the labels and move them one by one. And there you go, done. So I've done all the labels. Let me just shrink this back down to 100% so we can see the whole screen. So now I've done that, the next thing I want to do is I want to add my pie chart. And my pie chart is going to be based on these values here. So again, I'm going to right click on this chart here. I'm going to do select data. This first series, I'm going to edit it so I know what it is. I'm just going to call that my dial, like so. Click OK. I'm then going to add another series. I'm going to call this my pointer, and the values are going to be these values here, the pointer position, the thickness, and the rest. So I'm going to select those, hit return and click OK, and then click OK again. So now it's put that pie chart values on the outside, this solid line, and I'm going to select it. I'm going to right click on it and change series chart type, like so. And what I'm going to do is on the pointer, I'm going to change that to be a pie chart, and then I'm going to click OK, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the pie chart selected, I'm going to go over here onto series options, and again I'm going to change the rotation to be 270 degrees. And there you go. And simply, with that selected, the chart selected, on the fill, I'm going to do as far as a solid color, and I'm going to do no border, like so. I'm then going to select first of all this segment here and do no fill. I'm then going to select this segment here and I'm going to do no fill again. And then the one that represents the pointer, I'm going to select that. I'm just going to make that black. I'm also going to go onto the series options, and I'm just going to do the pointer explosion and increase that from 0% to, let's say, 5%, so it's just outside of the dial, like so. So far so good. So now if I go to my Speedo here, let's change this to 25%. Let's go back to our sheet and you can see it's now moving. So I now want to put almost like this, it's a needle that's held on a central point here. So over here I'm going to do insert shapes. I'm going to take a circle, I'm just going to draw it here basically, and then on the shape format with that selected, I'm just going to make that 1 and make that 1 like so. Okay, that's great. I'm going to change the shape format style to this one here. As far as the shape effects, I'm going to use the preset and choose that one. Wonderful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to somewhere there, and with that shape selected I'm going to do Control A and it will select all the shapes, and then on the shape format I'm going to do a line to the center and I'm going to do a line to the middle. Perfect. So that's now all lined up beautifully. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure there's a label on the actual pointer itself. So I'm going to select the pointer and I'm going to select it again. So we just got the pointer selected. I'm going to do plus sign. I'm going to do a data label. Yeah. And on that data label, I'm going to do data callout. So it just sits outside of the actual dial like so. I'm then going to just shrink that down by clicking the plus sign. I'm going to select that label there and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So let's make that, let's make that 16, make that bold like so. Still with that selected, I'm going to go over here onto the label options here and I'm going to do a value from cells here. So I'm just going to select that, do the up arrow, and I'm going to select these values here. I'm going to hit return, and I'm going to do OK. Now I'm just going to select these individual labels here, and I don't want them to appear, so I'm going to take that one. I'm just going to hit delete, and I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to do delete, and there you go. So we've got cell values there. So if I just then select this here and do Control 1, and now you'll see I've got the values from cells ticked. I'm going to untick the category name. I'm going to untick the percentage. If I click off it, if I then go to here and I move this, say to, let's do 56%, go to the dial, you'll notice it moves and also the label moves. So now to finish this off, let's take this here and I'm going to go on the format here. I'm going to do shape fill, no fill. I'm going to do on the outline, I'm going to do no outline. I'm also then going to just take this here and on the size and properties options, on the properties, I'm just going to say do not move or size with cells. Because what I want to do now is I want to make sure that I select this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it slightly. Oh, do back. I'm going to do Control A. I want to make sure this moves with it as well, and I'm going to right click and I'm just going to do group, so they're all groups, and now I can move them all together. So what I'm doing is I'm just moving this, so what I'm looking at is the grid lines here, and I'm looking at the grid lines to make sure that yes, I'm happy with it. I'm going to move that just slightly to the left. So what I want to make sure here is that I've got these grid lines. So when this moves around, so let's just put that to 0. Check. Right, okay, so that falls within this column here. And if I then put that to 100%, a little bit bigger so we can see it. And that falls within there. So what I'm making sure is it falls within the grid line. Now let's just change that to 50%. Right, and that's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight the cells. So I'm going to use link picture functionality. And what I was checking is that that label there stays within this area here. And I'm going to do Control, copy. And I'm going to go to my Speedo here, my Speedo tab. I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to do the arrow and do paste as a linked picture, like so. And then going to go to my support sheet. I'm going to do view and take off the grid lines. Now when I go to my Speedo, there it is. If I change this now to 17, it moves. And what I can do with this picture now is, again, when you've got space constraints, is I can just shrink this picture down, make it smaller, and I can interact with it. Then I can just hide this now that I know it works, just hide it because I don't need that to be visible. And there you go. There is a Speedo dial. Hopefully you found that interesting and informative, and that will help you with your own dashboards. If it does, please remember to click that like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button for future content. And as always, I wish you a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video from Change, Tips and Tools. Bye bye now.